The Boston Celtics just made a quiet move that could turn into something much bigger than it looks. Max Shulga is officially on a standard NBA contract, confirmed by the organization, and this decision carries more weight than most fans realize. Stay with me because the timing here is not random, and the implications go beyond a simple roster adjustment. Before we break it down, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button because what is happening right now in Boston could directly impact the playoff rotation. Shulga, previously on a two-way deal, is being promoted through the end of next season. The contract is non-guaranteed for the 2026 to 2027 season, and he will receive a prorated rookie minimum for the remainder of this year. On paper, that sounds procedural. In reality, it is strategic. The Celtics have been operating with a reduced roster to stay under the luxury tax, pushing right up against the limit of 28 days allowed below 14 players. With that deadline closing in by Sunday, Boston had to act, and they did it in a way that protects flexibility. By promoting Shulga instead of signing a more expensive free agent, the team avoids a heavier tax hit. That matters, especially with another move already lined up involving Charles Bassey on a 10-day deal. Now look at Shulga's production. In the G League with the Maine Celtics, he is averaging 16.2 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 7.2 assists in 23 games. That is not just solid, that is efficient, controlled, and scalable. He is 23 years old, a draft pick from last year, and clearly someone the front office has been tracking closely. Here is where it gets interesting. Boston is setting itself up to add a 15th player on the final day of the regular season without crossing the tax line. Every move is calculated, every dollar accounted for, every roster spot intentional. So, ask yourself this: is Max Shulga just a financial solution? Or is this the first sign that the Celtics see him as a real contributor when the pressure reaches its peak? The Boston Celtics just made a move that might look temporary, but the timing raises serious questions about what is really happening inside the roster. The team has officially signed Charles Bassey to a 10-day contract, adding size and depth at a critical moment of the season. And this is not just about filling a spot. Bassey arrives with experience across 5 NBA seasons, averaging 4.3 points and 4.3 rebounds while shooting 63% from the field. Those numbers are not star level, but they are efficient, reliable, and exactly what teams look for when they need immediate impact in limited minutes. Boston knows that. Right now, the Celtics are dealing with an issue involving Nikola Vucevic and a fractured finger, which puts pressure on the frontcourt rotation. This is where Bassey becomes more than just a short-term solution. He brings rebounding, physical presence, and rim protection, areas that can decide games late in the regular season. And there is another detail that mattered. He already spent time with Boston during the most recent summer league, which means there is familiarity, system knowledge, and less adaptation time. This is where things start to get interesting. The Celtics are not making random moves. Every decision right now is tied to roster limits, financial control, and playoff preparation. A 10-day contract may sound small, but in this context, it is calculated, it is targeted, and now the pressure builds. If Bassey performs, if he delivers in these limited minutes, Boston could be looking at more than just a temporary fix. They could be testing a piece for something bigger, something that impacts the rotation when the games truly matter. So here is the real question. Is Charles Bassey just emergency depth? Or are the Celtics quietly preparing a move that could shape their frontcourt heading into the playoffs? The Boston Celtics made a move that demands attention, and the real reason behind it is now clear. Charles Bassey was signed to a 10-day contract, but this decision was not just about depth. It was about advantage, a specific advantage that may explain everything Boston is trying to control at this stage of the season. Head coach Joe Mazzulla addressed it directly, and his words reveal more than the transaction itself. Bassey already knows the system. He worked with the team during Summer League, built relationships with the coaching staff, and understands the language used inside the Celtics structure. That familiarity is not a small detail. It is the difference between a player adapting in days or struggling to contribute. In a moment where time is limited and every game matters, Boston cannot afford experiments. They need immediate response, quick integration, and reliable execution. Bassey offers exactly that. During Summer League, he averaged 15.3 points, grabbed 11 rebounds, and shot over 70% from the field in 3 games. That level of efficiency is not ignored by a team with championship expectations. Now add the context. The Celtics are managing roster limits, financial pressure, and an injury situation involving Nikola Vucevic. They are operating with precision, staying under the luxury tax while keeping the rotation functional. Every move has a purpose. Every contract has timing. And here is where urgency increases. Boston is required to maintain at least 14 standard contracts. When this 10-day deal ends, they must either bring Bassey back or replace him immediately. There is no margin for hesitation, so this becomes bigger than a short-term signing. This becomes a test under pressure, a controlled evaluation with real stakes attached. If Bassey delivers, the Celtics gain stability exactly where they need it most. But if this was all about familiarity and immediate impact, then the question becomes unavoidable. Did the Celtics just find a solution they were not expecting? Or are they setting up a move that could quietly redefine their frontcourt before the playoffs begin? There is something the Boston Celtics are not saying out loud, but the signs are there, and if you are paying attention, you can see it building. The team has been dominant since Jason Tatum returned. The rhythm is intact, the wins keep coming, and yet, there is a sense that this is not the final version of this roster. Most people believe the next level depends on Tatum getting fully back to form. That is part of it, but not the full story. The real factor, the one being quietly held back, is the pairing that has barely been seen. Tatum alongside Nikola Vucevic. Think about the pattern. Tatum has always elevated his game when paired with a stretch 5. It happened with Al Horford. It showed again with Kristaps Porzingis. Floor spacing opens, defenses are forced to adjust, and Boston's offense becomes harder to predict and harder to stop. Vucevic fits that profile, even if the role is slightly different. Now look at the numbers. Even in limited minutes, both players have been strong positive. Boston improves on both ends when they are on the floor, and there is more. The Celtics already tested similar lineups using Luka Garza, and the impact was immediate. Elite defenders were pulled away from the paint, and that changed everything. Here is the key point. Tatum and Vucevic have barely played together. An injury stopped it almost instantly, but Vucevic is expected to return just before the playoff. That creates urgency, that creates risk, and that creates opportunity. Boston is winning now, but they have not revealed this combination yet. They are holding something that could change matchups, rotations, and possibly the entire playoff outlook. So ask yourself this. If the Celtics are already this good, what happens when they finally unlock the one lineup no one has truly seen yet? If you want to stay ahead of every move, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button right now.